name's Gilby Lifton. I'm a member of the game design team, and I specialize in narrative design. Getting into the overarching narrative of Game of Thrones Legends and the storytelling process that we went through in order to develop that narrative is a pretty deep question. We've got the Game of Thrones story that exists right now, and we have to consider that as we go. We try to keep things close to the Game of Thrones story, but not exactly dead on. And similarly, we don't take it in wild, crazy directions. We have to make sure that characters don't meet at the wrong times, and we have to make sure that the narrative fits in the right way. It's daunting to deal with such a rich and impressive lore that the Game of Thrones books were. They were so intricate, they were so thought out, and trying to replicate that is both an honor and a daunting challenge. The game drives the narrative. Creating a character and a champion takes so much more effort to put it into the game than it takes to write the story. I take the champions that are created and do my best to feed them into a narrative that makes sense and is fun and is engaging. It is really a patchwork, interesting kind of dance that we have to do to make sure that an interesting narrative arises considering all the moving parts. Of course, when you're telling a story, one of the most crucial parts is the first story. It's the opening chapter, it's the opening page. When you open up the game for the first time, you are pulled into this immersive moment with Melisandre, the Red Woman, diving into the flames. You see her vision of the long night. You see the Night King with his army of White Walkers sweeping over the land of men, and you see this last stand being made by the champions we know and love, by Jon Snow and Arya and Dany, and fighting against the Night King and his army, and you get to do your best to prevent the long night. And as you see this destruction raining in, as the icy Viserion comes in and unleashes his frozen blast across our line of champions, you are then pulled back out. You are presented with the stakes and the game mechanics and the story right away. I'm pretty happy with the way that landed. So one of the interesting challenges when you're dealing with Game of Thrones universe, there is this already long-standing, beautiful story, and we don't want to do anything that changes or even implies that we're remotely changing any part of that story. It's set, it's beautiful, it's done. But as you're watching or as you're reading Game of Thrones, it's not hard to imagine that there's so many other characters doing different things at different times. And so that is kind of where we are trying to fit in. We are trying to flesh out the other stories that could be happening in those realms at the same time, while of course not changing anything. We're not changing any endings. We're not creating any new character deaths or anything like that. So we are really trying to find our own little place in the Game of Thrones universe without changing any of the amazing stuff that already exists. Along with all of these human characters, we do have a bunch of other animals, both playable animals and animals that you encounter in the wild. We have a frenzied boar, and we've got bears and eagles and crows, and just you deal with the environment, not only the human but that fauna as well. And also, so not only do we have those beasts of the forest, but we are bringing dragons into the story as well. All things dragon related are beginning to be woven into the narrative, which is truly exciting, both as a Game of Thrones fan and a writer. So my favorite weapon, I like to use things from range. Either a bow and arrow, something from range, or something dragon glass based. It's so versatile. There's so much utility that you can get in the Game of Thrones universe with dragon glass, or just stay away from the fray. Shoot from afar, do damage with bow and arrow. Those are kind of the ways I would. My house name and my sigil, were I creating my own, would be House on the Hill. I want something that's away, that's non-threatening, that's not violent. I don't want the big houses to come and overrun me. And my sigil would just be like a billy goat. No one's gonna attack the billy goat house. We're a little farming community. I've had truly a fantastic time talking with you guys today, sharing a glimpse into the world of narrative design and how we create story arcs in a game like this. If you'd like to stay abreast of other cool content, make sure to like, subscribe, and please comment below about anything Game of Thrones Legends related, but specifically a Dothraki team. Help me out with my Khal Drogo team. I hope to see you all next time, and have a great day. Bye, everyone.